Greetings and salutations, everyone. I do hope everyone is still doing well, and welcome to this early morning, middle of the night bonus. Before we jump into it, a couple quick links. As many of you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below. Merch is displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support the channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It does not cost a cent. Click the like button, takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads I put out daily, click the bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment and share the video. Why? Well, because all of these things really do help the channel to continue to grow and go. They definitely do matter, and they are appreciated. And with that, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump into this early morning, middle of the night bonus upload. Shall we? Today's first encounter. I'd like to share with you my daughter's sighting of what I believe was the Dogman. It was the fall of 2014, and I had recently started a new job at the Veterans Administration in Saginaw, Michigan. It was about an hour and 45 minutes from my house. I left work for 6:15 a.m. to be there at 8. My daughters were 14 and 10 at the time. Now, we lived in the country in Fenwick, Michigan, Montcalm County. Our driveway was about 100 yards long. At around 7 a.m., I received a frantic call from my daughters. They were yelling about this white dog creature that had chased them back up our driveway, causing them to miss the bus. I didn't believe them, of course. I thought they had made this up, so that I didn't get mad at them for missing the bus because I had just started a new job and I couldn't turn around and take them to school. Now, it's important to note that both of my daughters are straight-A students, extremely athletic, well-respected kids. They still are. They've never before or after this incident missed the bus. After the incident, both of them were terrified to go out at night anymore. Occasionally, I would make them go out and get their chores done if they forgot to do it during the day, like take the trash out to the road. And it would make me so mad, saying that they were too scared, or would I please sit on the porch and watch them, which of course I ended up doing, or else the job wasn't going to get done. Fast forward to a year ago. My daughters and I are sitting around watching television. We were watching a show about sightings of unconfirmed creatures like Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster. At some point during the TV show, a segment of the Beast of Bray Road came on. Immediately, both girls shouted that's the thing they saw back in 2014. They were filled with anxiety and fear. It was quite evident to me, after seeing their reaction and watching the segment of this creature, that they indeed had seen this beast. I felt absolutely terrible about not believing them, or even listening to their story. After the show ended, my oldest searched online for information on how to report this sighting and left a message at one of the sites on the internet about what they had seen. The next morning, we also called and reported it to the Michigan DNR and the local police department. I really don't believe they took it too seriously. A little later on in the day, we received a call from a person that had gotten a message on the internet about their sighting. My daughter informed them of what had happened and what they saw, and they took a report. During the months that followed, I was occasionally searching for information on the internet about Dogman, and as crazy as this sounds, I believe I saw one a good 25 years ago. I was with my boyfriend, and we were cruising the back roads, drinking some beers. We were about a mile south of Carson City, Michigan, prison on the Black Mare Road. I turned my head to say something to my boyfriend, and when I looked back at the road, I saw this white creature that I thought was crawling towards the ditch on the right side of the road. The creature was on the edge of the right side. I only saw it for a split second, and only saw the right side of its body. A second after I saw it, the right front side of the truck grazed it. You could hear a thud, and I felt it. My boyfriend and I were both shocked and didn't know what this thing was. I thought it was crawling or dragging its back legs, because the back side of it was definitely much lower than the front, and bent, looking broken or deformed, like its legs or hips were injured, hit by a car or something. It was trying to get across the road. I backed the truck up, and I was really upset and nervous because I wasn't sure what this thing was. And it even crossed my mind that maybe it was a naked person that I had hit. We shined the area and didn't see any blood, hair, or body. I went back the next morning and looked again and found nothing. I even listened to the news for several nights to see if there was any report of a hit and run or anything unusual like that, and thank God there was no report of anyone being hit. I described it to my family as looking like a sheep that had been sheared, like it had white skin, like a naked body, with no or not much hair. It was much larger than a sheep. They all teased me and insinuated that I was drunk. It didn't take long before I stopped talking about it to them and just stuffed it to the back of my mind. Even I began to doubt what I saw. Over the years, I never forgot about it, but I just never really thought about it anymore after seeing the segment of the Beast of Bray Road and realizing that my daughters were not making it up. I began researching the creature on the internet. For some reason, it didn't correlate the creature that my daughters saw to the thing that I saw until I began seeing pictures and drawings of this creature on the internet. I realized after seeing some profile views of this creature that the thing I saw was probably not injured, but instead in a squatted position. I realized that its back legs were not injured, broken, or deformed. It was just sitting on its haunches. This explains why, if it was already injured and then hit, grazed by my truck, we didn't find it anywhere. Because the angle of its body when I saw it looked the position of an animal unable to move its back legs. And then to add the collision, the animal would have not made it very far from the spot my vehicle had struck it. However, if the creature was in fact not injured, but just squatted, as seen in many profile views, it would be reasonable to assume that the creature wasn't injured much from the collision and just simply ran away. Finally, I'd like to add, before last month, I had never said a word to my daughters about the creature I had hit with the truck, so there was nothing planted in their minds about this beast. Today's second part of the upload is dedicated to my friend Robert Patterson Jr., who has spent many years researching the Jersey Devil and the mysteries of the Pine Barren. Robert, here are a couple of Dogman encounters coming out of the Pine Barrens for you. Before I start, this is from the perspective of my friend Harold, and for the sake of anonymity, I will keep details as vague as possible, along with not using his name or names of people involved. I believe I saw a cryptid that most people know as the Dogman or Wolfman of sort and part of New Jersey Pine Barrens. A little bit about me. When I received my license at 17 years old, I started spending all of my free time outdoors, hiking all over the East Coast, but mostly within the New Jersey Pine Barrens, since I live in Jersey. I just graduated Stockton University with a bachelor's degree in environmental science, and I worked as a naturalist at Batstow Village in Wharton State Forest for a while, which is the biggest state forest within the New Jersey Pine Barrens. I got a job before my internship ended due to my knowledge of plants and animals. They didn't expect me to have the credentials because, at the time, I hadn't even finished my first semester in college. I only give this info out because when I see an animal in the woods, day or night, I know with 100% certainty of what I'm looking at. And after almost 6 years from the time of sharing this, I cannot wrap my head around the creature that I saw. I'm an open-minded person to a point. I do believe in certain cryptids can exist solely if the biology of the creature is possible, but that does not put a bipedal canine on my list. Roughly 6 years ago, I, along with two of my friends, one being a welder and the other a mechanic, I will be naming Chris the welder, mechanic is Alan, went off-roading in my friend Alan's truck somewhere in Manchester, New Jersey. We met with a bunch of Alan's off-roading buddies in a spot they frequented. I don't know the specific area, only that it's in Manchester, and it was very close to the general vicinity of the abandoned brick factory. We hung out for a few hours, drove around the dirt trails, and just had a good time socializing. I didn't have any alcohol or any pot in my system because after we left I had to drive myself home, so I was sober along with my friend Alan, who was also sober, but my friend Chris was a bit high. We were beginning to leave, and as we were taking the trails to get back to the main road, my friend Alan told me to help look out for deer. He was driving around 35 miles an hour because the dirt path we were on was pretty open, about 30-ish feet wide, and we were dead in the middle of it, just in case he had to respond to a deer jumping out of that tree line. Moments later, my sharp vision catches this deer running alongside the truck, but it's within the tree line, so the view is nothing more than this dark brown patch of fur. I'm about to say something to my friend Alan, thinking that this deer is going to run in front of the truck and commit suicide. Suddenly, it speeds its pace significantly, gets about 20 feet ahead of the truck, still within the tree line, and proceeds to jump in front of the truck. Now, for as long as I live, I will never forget what I saw that night. It ran on its hind legs, looking right up at us, and to our horror, it ran across that 30-foot wide dirt road in 2 to 3 steps, jumping into the opposite tree line. In those seconds that we saw this dogman or wolfman creature, I will never forget what I saw. This thing was roughly 7 feet tall, guesstimating its height using my friend Alan's lifted truck as a reference, covered in dark brown fur. Every inch of its body I saw was covered in this fur, but its chest, stomach, and area had less fur and was a lighter color than the rest of its body. But even under all of that fur, I could make out extreme muscle definition, very similar to a bodybuilder. It had a canine-type head with a long snout and 2 distinct perked ears, very much like a wolf's, with large muscular legs. The torso and arms were very similar to that of a very muscular man with large hands. The hands had visible claws that looked like they could do some real damage, and its eyes reflected this unnatural color of light that I had never seen in the animal kingdom. As soon as this thing jumped into the opposing tree line, my friend Alan slammed on the brakes, and my friend Chris said, "I know I'm high, but what was that?" My friends, puzzled by what we had just seen, looked at me and went, "Okay, nature boy, tell us something explainable." I sat there dumbfounded and told them that I don't have an answer based on reason or science, or anything I could logically think of, and my friend Alan hightailed it out of there. To this day, my friend Chris has convinced himself that it was a hallucination because of the pot. My other friend Alan, who doesn't believe in the supernatural and absolutely refuses to have an open mind, will not speak about the event and pretends that it never happened. To this day, I still have no logical explanation for what I saw. I don't believe that a bipedal canine creature could logically or biologically exist, but what I saw was something matching the description with my own eyes, and it was very much real. My name is George, and I had a similar experience to my friend Harold's. It was close to where his experience occurred. which was close to the abandoned brick factory in Manchester. My brother had taken me to this place before with Harold, and I thought it was pretty cool, so I decided to go back there with a group of friends one night. To my horror, we encountered something I never thought was real. So, like I stated before, my friends and I went back to this abandoned brick factory to explore it shortly after my brother took me with Harold. He warned us never to come back there at night, but we did not listen to Harold's warning seriously. He told me it was because he had some strange experiences there that haunted him for as long as he can live. I thought he was joking about that, but fast forward. My group of friends and I decided to go to the abandoned brick factory. When we arrived, we decided to go towards the path that leads to the factory. As soon as we got there, we felt this eerie presence, like we were being watched. My friends and I are a little spooked, and as our eyes darted along the wood line, I spotted something. In the wood line up ahead, I saw something that shouldn't be possible or should not exist. To my horror, there was what looked like a werewolf. Its piercing yellow eyes were staring directly at me, almost into my soul. It gave me the creeps when I was looking at it. To describe it, it was very tall, abnormally tall. I would say maybe 9 to 10 feet at the head, with a large wolf-like head, perked ears, large snout. Its body was similar to that of a bodybuilder, with large muscles visibly through the mass of fur that was standing there. But its head was similar to a German shepherd or wolf. Its hands ended with claw-like digits. I blinked to make sure this was not my imagination. To my horror, my friends reacted as well. My friends also saw this eerie presence, and they were all startled. To me, it felt like it was beckoning me to come closer, and its stare was so quiet and soul-piercing, which both weirded me out and gave me the same sensation of a deer would get seeing the headlights. It felt like it was waiting for the perfect time to strike, and I felt a primal sense of fear while looking at this monster. It kind of also reminded me of an Egyptian jackal, except this should not be real. The creature didn't do anything but stare at us and make us feel intimidated. And once we felt like it was gone, we ran out of that area, and to this day, I'm still not exactly sure what I saw, but when my brother showed me an illustration of the Dogman, it made me shudder with fear. Whatever I saw that night looked just like the illustration my brother had showed me. To this day, I am still in disbelief at what I saw. I will never go back in that location. I felt like I was in danger the entire time. I felt like this creature was trying to intimidate us and warn us to never come back to its territory. Now, in conclusion, I don't know what I saw that night, but I hope I never see it again. And things really do go bump in the night, so be careful while out exploring the Pine Barrens. And never go to the abandoned brick factory at night. Today's third experience. Growing up in Michigan, I remember back in the 90s, my stepbrother James and cousin Lalo and 3 other friends of mine went up to Haunton Lake during the summer for some fishing, swimming, drinking, and smoking weed. That's what guys do in their 20s, right? It was fun and great memories, and none of us had ever heard, let alone knew about a Dogman. Anyway, it was an uneventful day besides the typical fun we all had. Now, as the day was ending and the sun was going down, not quite sunset, but pretty close, we all packed into James's Ford pickup. As we finished cleaning up and packed our barbecue and fishing equipment, Lalo had another joint left at the time. A real good red-haired Sensi. James was like, "There's a dirt road that goes around the lake. Do you guys want to drive down and see where it goes?" We're all like, yeah, so we drove to explore the newly found dirt road. As we were driving down the road, the foliage was that of prehistoric times, with huge ferns. The sun was beginning to set, and the tree canopy was making its surrounding area feel darker than it was. James pulls over on the side of the road and turns the engine off, gets out and starts walking into the woods. I don't remember who asked what he was doing, but he replied, "I'm going to explore." So we all jumped out and started to follow him. There was no trail, so James, who was leading, made the trail. Well, there was an incline, and we were all walking up. It's getting darker by the second. Suddenly, James stops, and my cousin, who was behind James, asks, "Why'd you stop?" James, from what I was told later, said, "Do you hear that?" looking intently into the growing darkness of the woods. My cousin says, "Yeah, what is it?" "I don't know," James answered. Now we all stopped wondering what was going on. Now we didn't go too far into the thick woods, maybe 50 yards up the slope. Suddenly I hear this "oh shit" and see James running past me. And I hear my cousin saying the same thing seconds later and running back down to the truck. I'm last and literally confused since the information has barely reached me. But my cousin and stepbrother are running for their lives. Remember, it is now pitch dark, and everyone else except me has turned around, making their way to the truck. I start hearing branches and sticks breaking. By now, I'm the only one who has not turned. I hear these sticks, maybe branches breaking or something is making its way towards me, and it seems to be picking up speed. I was then around, now filled with fear, and ran as fast as I could down the slope. I tripped on an exposed tree root, spraining my ankle, but I did not stop, continuing to the truck. This thing was close behind me. Now I'm about 5, maybe 10 feet away from the pickup truck, and all the guys were in it yelling, "Hurry, hurry!" I dove into the bed of the truck. My stepbrother steps on the gas and peels out as fast as his V6 could take us. All I can hear is, "Did you see it? What was it?" My brother's saying, "Yeah, and I don't know." Myself and my friend were asking what they saw. My brother couldn't answer because he wasn't sure. Neither could my cousin. They both said they couldn't believe what they saw. Now, I never saw anything, nor did my 2 other friends who were behind my cousin. Just James and Lalo saw it, and they never elaborated on what they saw. Maybe they couldn't believe their eyes. It was maybe 25 years ago, time and day. I'm 52. I only knew of Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster and UFOs. It was only 5 years ago that I had ever heard of Dogman. I know there is another Dogman encounter surrounding the Houghton Lake area. Did they see a Dogman? I don't know. But this is my experience and belief that they did. I never talked to my stepbrother or cousin Lalo, and haven't for 15 years. Still, I can't help but think about what they exactly saw that day. Today's 4th encounter. In 2018, I visited some family who lives in South Dakota and worked there for the summer. After about a month, my brother, sister, and her husband decided to go shoot some guns in the woods. I had to work an evening shift, so I decided we'd go after at around 10 p.m. Once my shift ended, went to their house to pack up the truck, grab some snacks, guns, and ammo. The drive was about 45 minutes, and it took us up a dirt road surrounded by trees and tall grass. Eventually, it opened up into a clearing, and it was a pretty open and flat area. The nearest tree line was maybe 100 feet away. It was pretty dark, but the clearing was lit up by the truck's headlights. I kind of felt uneasy, but I chalked it up to just being in the woods at night. For the first 20 minutes, nothing really happened. We were just setting up some plastic bottles and those plastic gallon buckets you'd get water in at the office. There was a feeling of being watched that we all felt. The area suddenly reeked of spoiled eggs. Those of you who have shotguns know they can smell, but even since going into the military, no amount of guns explosion have smelled that bad. We looked around to see if we could find the source, and what I saw I can still vividly remember to this day. What I saw was a very thin humanoid figure crouched down and looking at us. Even while crouching down, it was still maybe 6 feet in height. When I say figure was thin, I mean skin and bones barely does it justice. The weirdest thing about this thing was we all saw the figure in different spots in the tree line, but we all described the same features: tall, thin, and had what appeared to be long black hair. We quickly packed up and left. The dreadful feeling that day will forever haunt me. Since then, my brother mentioned the area might have been Native American territory, but I don't know if that's true. Every once in a while, I think back to that day, and I look up different stories and encounters people had in the woods, but still nothing quite resembles what we saw. And there you have it, folks. I do hope you all enjoyed this early morning, middle of the night bonus as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. I'd like to thank you all for supporting the channel. It is, after all, your support that helps this channel to continue to grow and go, and honestly what gives us all a place and a chance to share our experiences and theories judgment-free. Everyone is simply treated with the respect that we deserve. Please stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, pets, family, and our friends. These creatures are real, they are out there and dangerous. Share this information with those you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. Until next time, never stop asking questions, never stop searching for the truth, and God bless you all.